you got to have your heart in your throat if you're a defensive player. There's so many things you have to think about.
It is the ultimate challenge going against this option offense that every defensive coordinator has. We had South Carolina Navy a few weeks ago. Ellis Johnson was telling us, I can't sleep at night trying to figure out how I'm going to stop this thing. And even though NC State's had 10 days to get ready for it, it's still faster once you get in real person.
It's another first down. Quarterback keeper this time Washington, and he was swallowed up by the linebacker Dwayne Maddox. Now Robert Flores in the studio. Good afternoon, Rob.
Hey, Mike, Taco Bell studio update. Michigan State receiver B.J. Cunningham said this week that he wanted to come back home and score against his hometown team. He's from Columbus, and he scores. B.J. Cunningham from Kirk Cousins. Michigan State leading 7-0 at the Shoe, first quarter.
Second and long for Georgia Tech. They don't find themselves in this spot very often. Washington on the pitch. This time, NC State was able to cover it because DJ Green, number 31, got penetration, got in the backfield to help on the tackle. There is a flag down, however. We're going to call this a horse collar.
Personal foul. Horse collar on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic. First down.
How's that for a tough break? You make a play and you commit a foul on it.
Well, DJ Green does a nice job of getting two guys. Nobody blocked him, so he's able to get to the outside and just reach. You got to somehow reach out there as a defender, grab cloth without that horse collar, because you know it's going to be seen. You can't get away with that.
Tony Zenon was the ball carrier. They have now used 4 running backs already. They'll march this off. Check it, they've used 5. And this penalty moves the ball down to the 7. First and goal.
This offense will make a lot of defensive players make mistakes. You get out of position, you're thinking, you're out there trying to do something and make a mistake.
Jones, the motion man. They go back the other way with Peebles, and Peebles is cut down by the linebacker Maddox. He's playing because Terrell Manning injured a knee last week. So he moves into a starting spot, stayed home and made the play.
I like the way that he drifted just a little bit with the counter movement. He's on the left side of your screen, 41, though he stays home. He sees the guard coming through and doesn't sit there and wait for the guard to come get him. He goes through the blockers and makes the play.
Mike Archer, the longtime defensive coordinator, now working at NC State. This is a veteran coaching staff. Doesn't mean they can stop this offense, but they've seen it. Orwin Smith, his second touchdown. They're just devastating. They find a way to gash a defense and leave enormous holes in the line. Orwin Smith has now scored 6 rushing touchdowns for Georgia Tech. 14-0 with the point after.
Pretty simple plan here. If you're NC State, Mike Glennon has to take the field on this series here. He's got to make plays. You got to go 4 downs to get the first down. You cannot punt it on 3 and out. Go for it.
Tonight on ABC Saturday Night Football, Taylor Martinez and number 8 Nebraska. Their first ever Big Ten game as the Huskers go to Madison to take on Russell Wilson and the Badgers. A pair of top 10 teams, Nebraska, Wisconsin. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines as part of Tailgate Week. Fired up by Kingsford Charcoal at 8 Eastern on ABC. Of course, a lot of people down here will be very interested in watching Russell Wilson, their former quarterback.
Not sure they'll be pulling for him.
No, but there was no hard feeling from the coaching staff. That was the thing that I thought was very interesting. But they wanted a commitment from him because he was also a baseball player. He was unwilling to give it. you can't wait on somebody forever, and they were afraid that Glennon would transfer if he had to sit again. So they made, I think, the only decision they could really make and say, all right, Glennon's going to be our quarterback. Russell, thank you for the great years. Go do what you need to do.
That's rational, but I'm not certain that the Wolfpack family is rational about this. They wanted Russell Wilson to stay here. They didn't want to see him playing somewhere else, especially playing for a team that might have a tremendous season.
Yeah.
So it was the right decision by Tom O'Brien. For the football team, you got to have your quarterback here with you. So, you know, that's why. Turn the page, move on. This is Mike Glennon's football team. This is his series, and this is a very important series for this football team.
Glennon sets in the pocket. Deep sideline pass, one hand on it, but Sweeting with good coverage.
Now, this is nice coverage down the field, but this is also a nice job of Glennon stepping up in the pocket, steps up, buys time, good protection. You know, this is one of those, you work on it, and just a good play defensively. Nothing there. So now you've stretched it 3 times without success. You got to get back to the middle of the field, the intermediate throws in the 10-15 yard range. Work that area now.
Empty backfield for Glennon. Time to throw, throws underneath, and another drop. That's 2. Stephen Howard dropped that one. Glennon needs some help. You're not going to complete every pass, but guys have to catch passes that hit them in the hands.
And I just said you got to work underneath, and you got to yards after the catch. And that's a specialty of T.J. Graham. Get him underneath. Get the ball to your all-purpose player. Let him use his feet yards after catch.
You throw to T.J. Graham and get 3 or 4 yards, he can get the other 6. 3rd and long again.
There he is up top there.
NC State cannot put its defense back on the field after a 3-and-out. And Glennon hit from behind. The blitz coming from the blind side. Brandon Watts, the weak side linebacker, gets him on a blitz. The 13th sack for Georgia Tech this year.
Now, that was and that is the league worst, by the way. But this is just a 1, 2, 3. The ball's got to get out of there. And Crawford comes off 67, maybe a messed up assignment, but he looked like the one who was supposed to have had coming off the side, Brandon Watts.
And more importantly, Glennon comes off limping. Flint to punt, high and short, bobbled but recovered. Zach Lasky muffed it but fell on it near midfield, a punt of 37 yards. So Glennon going to have to receive treatment. Brocious is his backup. Has not played very much at all. And now that NC State beleaguered defense is back on the field, and they start in their own territory.
Yeah.
And they only took 55 seconds off the clock and handed back to Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech is a confident offense. They're a confident football team. And when they have someone on the ropes like they have right now, they are going to put them at risk. They're going to pound them.
Smith and Jones are the backs. Instead, they give it to Sims, the B-back, or the fullback in most people's parlance, and he goes up the middle for a couple. Normally, the B-back has one of the gaudier averages, but not in this offense. It's the A-backs that have it.
Before the season's over, though, that B-back in this offense will become important. You've got to have the fullback with high production. And David Sims was a converted quarterback in the spring to the B-back. So he's got talent, and he'll get plenty of looks in order to keep the defense respectful.
Of course, he's averaging 6.5 yards a carry. It's nothing to sneeze at. It's just that the other guys have fantasy numbers. Smith, 30, 20, pushed out of bounds. 6 feet, 202. And once he gets going, he's almost impossible to stop. That one ripped off 28 yards. And they are just killing NC State.
This is like the OT counter in the old world that we used to live in. You've got 2 guys pulling. You got the left tackle. You've got a push kick out block by a fullback. And this is just slice and dice. Now, NC State has seen this play 3 out of the last 4 snaps. Same play. You got to figure what's coming the next time and get up in the hole.
Embry Peoples says when we make our blocks, it looks like a video game. Sims goes up the middle to the 7. Brandon Bishop made the tackle.
Well, again, when you look at this offense, and you alluded to it early in the game, Mike, sometimes numbers are misleading, but when you see the execution of this offense on the field today, there's nothing misleading about that. It's real.
No, there's not. Air Force is the leading rushing team. That's why they're number 2, but it's almost 400 yards a game, and they are just so efficient. The thing that has made them so much better is that they now have a quarterback who can hit these big plays, and they have 2 big wide receivers on the outside who can catch virtually anything he throws. That makes them so dangerous.
Remember when Paul Johnson came from Navy, and he came in with this offense, and the players that he inherited, they were not triple option guys. So he's been recruiting to what he needs to be effective in this offense, and after several years, he's got them going. And so, you know, you got a lot of guys out there who are very talented, and using his mind and what he does with this offense that's unique, it's a winner.
And there were critics who said it's not going to work in the ACC. May have worked at Navy, may work at the Air Force. Hey, it's worked. Sims, the fullback, inside the 5, stacked up at the 4.
We were in a meeting a couple of weeks ago with Ellis Johnson at South Carolina, their defensive coordinator, talking about the triple option. And years ago, the wishbone was unstoppable. Okay, the Oklahoma Sooners and those guys, the Holloways and all them. And the reason it became a part of the past was because players wanted to get to the NFL. So you had to start recruiting and playing with an offense that could get you the kids that you needed, right? If you had a team like this here where you could convince kids to come play for you, you'd have the same success.
Quarterback keeper, Washington.
But if you're a B-back and you're a running back and you say, well, if I go play for Georgia Tech, I'm going to get hit every play, all right? And if I'm a wide receiver, I'm going to have to block a whole lot. So that's the challenge if you wanted to start a new offense and come in with a triple option.
But if 40 schools aren't running it, you can still get really good guys, and that's what he's doing.
Yep.
Smith, quick toss to him. Can't get outside, and again, solid play from Green, the linebacker. And NC State needed that. And they'll get another breather as the quarter ends. 14-0, Georgia Tech.